We are all children of God. Preach the gospel. Our Lord Jesus Christ died, so the scattered children of God, throughout the whole world, might be gathered in love. Man should not be a wolf to man, one should not bring evil against the other, and that no matter how numerous we may be, whether we be men or women, angels or spirits, we are but one. Trees, leaves, water, men or women, or angels or spirits, we are but one. Trees, leaves, water are all brotherhood, but they are like angels. To which angel has God said at any time, "You are my son, this day have I begotten you"? Hebrews chapter 1 verse 5. But you are a child of God, and they are angels. Do not hate any person, for the reason of his worshipping a tree, because when his eyes will be opened, he will know himself. Preach love and unity. This explains more why, when the various church denominations invite the Father, he does not reject any of them, but responds to all their invitations irrespective of the fact they light candle and burn incense. But I give them money, if they want the gospel, I give it to them, but I do not condemn them, because they are all brotherhood, and they know this for sure. If you worship a tree, that tree was created by God, you will therefore, through the worship of the tree, move to the worship of God, because the veil of Moses is still covering your eyes. Now that a tree is your God and leader, when the scale falls out of your eyes, you will know what you ought to have done, though still you are brotherhood. No person starts to count his numerals from 1, 2, or 3, but from 0. If you start with 0, you will end well. If you do not worship a man, how will you worship God? So things are not what they seem. Do not advise somebody to withdraw from his church denomination and enroll into brotherhood. If you do, you will cause confusion. Who are members of church denominations? They are the children of God. Who are the Muslims? They are also the children of God. Who are the necromancers? They are the children of God. All creations are children of God, but advise them to fulfill the injunction of loving one another, and also tell them they should not engage in animosity or commission of sin. Do not preach division. Do not advise any person to deny his citizenship of Nigeria or of Ghana or to deny his being white or black, because all are brotherhood, and ipso facto, children of God. But whatever we may be, we should regard every person equally, realizing all are brotherhood, and we should love one another. When you are among the necromancers, love them, and tell them they are children of God. They should not hate, as it is time that every person has to serve God and that no person should sin. If you find yourself with hoteliers, love them, instruct them not to sin, be kind to them. Today many church denominations have invited me, and I have sent money to them irrespective of what purpose they will put the money to. Whether they know me or not, one thing is certain, and that is, they are brotherhood, but it is your work that manifests this belief. They are all brotherhood. Associate with all and sundry. In the community you hail from, in the family you belong, in the state you come from, every person is brotherhood, but you have to reveal brotherhood to them, to manifest the tenets of brotherhood to them. Do not fight against the authority of your community. If they engage in environmental sanitation, but you refuse to participate, and you neither associate with the inspiration of the people, but every time show yourself as brotherhood. What sort of brotherhood are you? Does it mean, if you are brotherhood, they are not brotherhood? Show them the correct perspective of brotherhood. Can you notice the motive of both the Christians and the Muslims? Some claim to be Muslims and yet they kill the Christians, others profess to be Christians, yet they kill the Muslims. Is it the function of Muslims or Christians to kill? Is it the practice of brotherhood, or is that the injunction to love one another? You profess to be a necromancer, and a member of a secret society, but you murder Christians in cold blood, because they are neither necromancers nor members of secret societies. You are a Christian, and you kill a necromancer, because he is not a Christian. Who is a Christian, and who is a necromancer? Since the commencement of the so-called Holy War, how does the world benefit from it? The Christians killed the Muslims, and Muslims killed Christians. Can you not realize the end result of the war? Our Lord Jesus Christ had reconciled the inhabitants of the world through his death. We therefore have no problems. Our problems emanate from our ignorance. We have to call a halt to such foolishness come 2080. You profess to belong to the best church, but do you show good examples to others? You fight them, you fornicate and tell lies. How good are you? Our golden text will now be read. Golden text, Acts chapter 10 verses 13 to 15. And there came a voice to him, Rise, Peter, kill, and eat. But Peter said, Not so, Lord, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean. And the voice spake unto him again the second time, What God hath cleansed, that call not thou common. God's action to disgrace the proud. Have you heard that? God has cleansed all the inhabitants of the world, through the blood of our Lord Jesus Christ. Therefore, it is erroneous to refer to some as satanic, others as evildoers, and others as necromancers. You condemn one church or the other, and one society or the other. But God has disgraced you, in that, the man you refer to as a necromancer, and society man, is a governor over you. Where will you run to? You profess to be a Christian, a real Christian, but the evil man is your governor. Where will you vanish to? In your village you are an elder, or pastor, or bishop. You have founded a church denomination, but unfortunately, the village head is a murderer. He is a thief and commits all sorts of sin. Where else will you go, to escape the village head? See, how God can disgrace you. You pronounce, wizards and mermaids should be consumed with fire, and those who do not attend your church denomination should be consumed with fire, because your church denomination is the best. But the chief judge and the other judges are society men, and do not go to church, neither do they believe in God, but suddenly to church denominations have a case, which is taken before the judge, who unavoidably will decide the case. Do not condemn, for all human beings are brothers. Without the love of God, what would you have been? But for the fact God propitiates on your behalf, where would you be? From the same family can be found members of different church denominations, but when anything happens in the family, you will sink your religious differences and pursue the matter. Unfortunately, the population of the Christians is in the minority. The Christians do not occupy positions of eminence in the world, they are always at the periphery of things. But found in prominent positions are sinners, necromancers, murderers, society men, and Muslims to pilot the affairs of the world. The Christians are relegated to the background, they have neither wisdom, nor money. You are always in the opposition, and I want to tell you, any kingdom that is opposing itself is brought to desolation. Matthew chapter 12 verse 25. The communists practice oneness. Remember, communist Russia is neither Christian nor Muslim. Even China, the most populous country in the world, is neither Christian nor Muslim. If you make it a condition, whosoever is not a Christian cannot have money, does it mean the Russians and Chinese have no money? Do the communist countries and those who do not know God have no money? Do they not eat? Do they not have good government? They have love, and they do not steal. The communist countries practice the virtue of live and let live. They do not go on prostitution. If you have no job, they pay you an unemployment allowance. But the Christians are an atavistic society, constantly at war with itself. What will cause the communists to embrace Christianity? You profess you know God, so you curse the necromancers and others, but unfortunately, you fall sick and you are taken to a necromancer for treatment. What then is your pride? You argue, whoever indulges in the preparation of concoction is satanic, but tomorrow, when you have not yet indulged in necromancing, you become sick and you are taken before him, and he heals you, who is God between you and him. You preach, hospitals are not good, and that people should not be given medication, neither should they take enema. But tomorrow, when you become sick you pray and fast, and take the holy oil, still you are not cured. You are then taken to the hospital, a big disgrace to you, and then you take drugs for treatment. Was that not the hospital you condemned? Non-religionists are more amendable than religionists. If you consider critically, you will notice those who do not belong to any church denominations are better, they are merciful, they are more loving and cooperative than churchgoers. If you go to any community where there are no church denominations, the people have love, they speak with one voice, but when church denominations are established, division will set in, people will advise their relations not to go to one church denomination or the other. They will cause confusion, and would not practice the gospel of God. If you invite a non-churchgoer to any church function, he will respond, but if a necromancer invites a churchgoer, he will refuse to respond, by condemning the activities of the necromancers. This is indicative of the fact, the world stands in opposition, but the government in power is brotherhood, which is invariably oneness. Any person who sows the seeds of division has crucified our Lord Jesus Christ the second time, and the most hideous crime ever committed by any person is to sow the seed of discord. even as we are